So this is chapter 7.5, part 2. I did a couple of these examples in class yesterday, but in case you still don't understand anything and wanted more examples, I figured I would just do them all again in part 2 video. So solving an equation with an extraneous solution. So always you should check your solutions to see if you have an extraneous solution. An extraneous solution occurs when the denominator, so when you get a fraction, the denominator is equal to 0. You can't have 0 in the denominator. So we always find what x is equal to and then just plug it in to check our work at the end. So for this one, we want to factor anything in our denominator that we can so we can find our least common denominator. So here, this factors into x plus 3, x minus 3. So our least common denominator, we have an x minus 3 here, 1 here also, so we only need to list one of them, so x minus 3. And we have an x plus 3 here and 1 here also, we only need to list one of them, so x plus 3 and x minus 3. So we want to multiply everything by x plus 3, x minus 3, x plus 3, x minus 3, x plus 3, x minus 3. In our first fraction, we see we have an x minus 3 on the bottom and an x minus 3 on top, so they cancel out, so we're just left with 6 times x plus 3. And we will distribute that out when we get to simplifying our entire equation, so we're just going to do all the fractions up top first, and then we can simplify it. You can do it in whatever order you want. If you want to simplify it at this step, totally fine. Next fraction, we have x plus 3 on the top, x plus 3 on the bottom, x minus 3, and x minus 3, so we are just left with 8x squared. And in our third fraction, we have x plus 3 and x plus 3. Those cancel, so we have negative 4x, don't forget the negative that goes along with it, times x minus 3. So we can distribute the 6 to the x and the 3, so 6x plus 18 is equal to 8x squared. Distribute, so negative 4x squared plus 12x. Let's move all of our terms to one side because we see we have some x squareds and some x's, so we know we're going to have to factor. So I'm going to combine like terms here. So this would be 4x squared, and then I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides. So plus 6x. And then subtract 18 minus 18. Anytime I have a number out front that's not 1, I want to see, do I have anything in common between these 3 values that I can take out? So I have 2. That goes into all of them. Usually if I could take out 4, I would want to take out 4, but 6 and 18 are not divisible by 4, and we don't want fractions. So we can only take out 2. So divide everything by 2, I get 0 is equal to 2x squared plus 3x minus 9. To factor now, I still have a number out front that's not 1, so I'm going to multiply the first and the last, so I have negative 18. 2 factors of negative 18 that add to positive 3 are positive 6 and negative 3. So here I have x plus 6 and x minus 3. I started with a number that's not 1, so I have to make sure I divide both of these numbers by that number. Simplify if I can, so x plus 3. And then if I cannot, I move it to the front. So 2x minus 3. Set both of these equal to 0. 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, and solve. So I get x is equal to negative 3, and x is equal to 2 over 3. 3 over 2. So now I want to check for extraneous solutions. This one tells me check for extraneous solutions, but you should always check. So take one of your answers, plug it into all 3 of your denominators. So here we have x minus 3, so negative 3 minus 3 gives you negative 6, so we're good there. It's not 0. So then we want to plug it into the next denominator, so we have x squared minus 9, so this would be negative 3 squared minus 9. Negative 3 squared is 9, and 9 minus 9 is 0. That's where we have a problem because we can't get 0 in the denominator. So this would not work. That is an extraneous solution. Then we could do the same thing for 3/2. Plug it into each denominator, so we have 3/2 minus 3. Doesn't give us 0, so we're good. Do it for the next one. 3/2 squared minus 9 doesn't give us 0, so we're good. And 3/2 plus 3 doesn't give us 0, so we're good. So this one works. So 2 more problems, just like the last one. Solve for extraneous solutions. So we want to factor or any denominator that can be factored first. So x squared minus 4 factors into x plus 2, x minus 2. And then our least common denominator would be x plus 2, x minus 2, because we have an x plus 2 here, which overlaps here, and x minus 2, which overlaps here. So we're good. So multiply everything by x plus 2, x minus 2. X plus 2, x minus 2. X plus 2, x minus 2. So we have an x minus 2 in the bottom, x minus 2 in the top. Those cancel, so we have 9x plus 2 left over. X plus 2 cancels out with x plus 2, so we have 6x times x minus 2. And then here, x plus 2 and x minus 2 cancel out with the bottom, so we just have 9x squared. Then we want to multiply this out and multiply this out. So 9x plus 18 is equal to 6, not equal, plus 6x squared minus 12x is equal to 9x squared. So I'm going to move the 9x squared to the other side and combine some like terms. 9x minus 12x is negative 3x. Subtract 9x squared. So this gives us negative 3x squared, and then plus 18. I can divide everything by negative 3. So this is x squared plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. Now I need 2 factors of negative 6 that add to 1. That would be 3 and negative 2. So x plus 3 and x minus 2 is equal to 0. X is equal to negative 3 and positive 2. So I want to plug both of these back in to check for extraneous solutions. So I can plug in negative 3. So negative 3 minus 2, not 0, so we're good there. Negative 3 plus 2, that's negative 1, not 0, so we're good there. And negative 3 squared minus 4, that would be 5, not 0, so we're good. Now let's plug in 2. So 2 minus 2, oh no, we get 0, not good, 2 does not work. So our only answer is x is equal to negative 3. Let's look at number 8. So first we want to factor any denominators that can be factored. So this turns into x plus 1, x minus 1. Our least common denominator would be this x plus 1 and x minus 1 because we have an x minus 1 here, so it overlaps, so we're good. So we multiply everything by x plus 1, x minus 1. X plus 1, x minus 1. X plus 1, x minus 1. This cancels, so we have 7 times x plus 1 minus 5 times x plus 1 times x minus 1 is equal to this cancels and this cancels, so just 6. Now we want to distribute some of these things out to simplify. So we have 7x plus 7. When we multiply these out, we just factored this here to get those two. So we know when we multiply them out, we're going to get this x squared minus 1. So this would be negative 5 times x squared minus 1. Distribute that negative 5 out, so we get negative 5x squared. Negative 5 times negative 1 would be plus 5 is equal to 6. So I have negative 5x. Got to move this 6 over, and I have to add the 7 to the 5. So I'm just combining like terms in this step. So, and putting it into standard form. I have x squared, x, and then 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 minus 6 is 6. Positive 6. I'm starting with a number that's not 1, and I cannot take anything out. So I'm going to multiply the first and last term. So negative 5 times 6 would be negative 30. What are two factors of negative 30 that add to 7? 3 and 10. Negative 3 and positive 10. So x minus 3 and x plus 10. Started with negative 5, so I've got to divide both of these by negative 5. I can simplify this because I'm dividing two negatives, so I'm going to make it a positive. So I have 5, but I can't simplify the 5, so I'm going to move that to the front. So 5x plus 3. If you left them both as negative, you'll get the same answer because you'll end up dividing by a negative at the end. And then positive 10 divided by negative 5 would be negative 2, so x minus 2. Set these both equal to 0. 5x plus 3 is equal to 0. X minus 2 is equal to 0. Subtract 3. Divide by 5, so x is equal to negative 3 over 5. And x is equal to positive 2. So these are two answers. We have to check for extraneous solutions. So we can plug them into all of our denominators. So we plug it into x minus 1. So if we have negative 3/5 minus 1, not 0, so we're good. If we have negative 3/5 squared minus 1, again, not 0, so we're good. And then 2 minus 1 is 1, so we're good. And 2 squared minus 1 is 3, so we're good. So these both work as answers. All right, next one. I did this in both classes, but I'll do it again. So to find the inverse, we've found the inverse before. We know f of x is just a fancy way of saying y. And then any inverse, we flip x and y. And then we want to solve for y. So we want it to be y equals. So first thing we want to do is flip x and y. So put x in the place of y and y in the place of x. So two ways we can do this, just like the last one where we get rid of our denominator because we don't like fractions. Or we could say that this is x over 1 and we can cross multiply. So if we cross multiply and cross multiply, we get x times y plus 3 is equal to 2. Our goal is to get y by itself, so we want to undo everything that's happening to it. So I can divide both sides by x. So y plus 3 is equal to 2 over x. And then subtract 3. Y is equal to 2 over x minus 3. And then we can just name it with the little negative 1 up top just to say this is the inverse of y. Last problem. Again, we're finding the inverse. So we change this to be y, flip x and y, so we have x is equal to 1 over y minus 2. I have y in the denominator, so I'm going to multiply everything by y to get rid of it. So x times y is equal to, here the y's cancel, so 1 minus 2y. This one's a little bit tricky because we have a y here and a y here. So I want to consolidate it to 1y. So I'm going to get all of my y's on one side. So I'm going to add 2y to both sides just to move it to the other side. So xy plus 2y is equal to 1. Now I see I have a y here and a y here. So I'm going to take out a y from everything on my left side of the equation. So I have y times x plus 2. So I just divided out a y from everything. Y was in common, so I took it out. Now y is being multiplied to x plus 2. So I'm going to divide both sides by x plus 2. So it cancels out here. And I have y is equal to 1 over x plus 2. And y is all by itself, so this is my answer, so I just put the little -1 on it. Alright, if you guys have any questions from these, we'll practice some more on Tuesday when I see you guys. This is the last new stuff we're learning before the next quiz. Quiz is going to be Thursday next week, and we're just reviewing Tuesday and Wednesday. So if you have any more questions on this, we'll go over it Tuesday and Wednesday. So have a good weekend, guys. Bye.